Those batteries are good for about 7 years.
Oh, okay.
So we can still say Shabbat Shalom to everyone and welcome you to Havdalah with a bonus. And our bonus this evening is Rabbi Rachel Esserman sharing a story with us.
This story takes place a long, long time ago when there lived a widow named Deborah. One day she heard that her mother, who lived far away in a distant land, was greatly ill and needed her help. Now, Deborah had saved her money since her husband died, and she'd also earned some of her own money with some beautiful embroidery that she did. And when she had it all was in gold coins. Now, there were no banks back then, so you needed to keep it safe somehow. And what she did was she had several pots of honey. So we're not talking about jars, we're talking about pots that you can't see through, old-fashioned pots. And she put her gold coins in that honey. Now, she knew she was going to have to leave those coins behind when she went to travel to see her mother because, one, they were very heavy to carry, and two, it now was not so safe to always there. So she didn't want to take all her money with her, just enough for her travels. But she also knew that she couldn't just leave it in her house because someone might walk in and take the pots of honey, whether or not they thought there was gold in it. Because no one knew. She didn't tell anybody what she did with her money. So she decided that she had a neighbor, Yoel, who she would trust. So she went to him and said, I have to go away, and I want to make sure that my honey jars are safe, that no one comes into my house when I'm gone and steals my honey. Would you mind putting them on a shelf and keeping them until I get back? I know that they'll be safe and secure with you. And if you do, when I come back, I'll bake some special honey pastries for you. You know, the ones that you really love so much as a way of repaying you for this. So Yoel said, of course. And he took the pots of honey and he put them high on a shelf in his house. But then what happened is after Deborah left, his son was getting married. And he wanted some honey in order to be able to make pastries for his son's wedding. And he thought, rather than going out and buying some honey, why don't I use what's in Deborah's pots? I can then replace it, when she comes back. But when he began to empty the honey out of the pots, he discovered the gold coins in the bottom. He said, I can make good use of these coins. And who knows if Deborah's ever going to come back? I mean, travel is so difficult. Something might happen to her. She might decide to stay where she is. And if she does return, well, she told me she was only giving me pots of honey. So I can say I know nothing about the gold. So with that, he emptied the pots of honey and took all of Deborah's gold. And with that money, he bought new clothes for his son's weddings and new jewelry and was able to have a fancier wedding than he would have otherwise. After the wedding, he poured honey back into the pots and placed them up on the high shelf again. Sometime later, Deborah's mother died and she returned home. Deborah immediately went to her neighbor's house. Yoel was shocked to see her, but he pretended to be happy because he didn't want her to know what happened. So he invited her inside. Oh, I'm so glad to be home, she said. I came for my 3 pots of honey. Oh, of course, Deborah, here they are on a shelf. I'll climb up and get them for you. So he gave her the pots of honey, and she went home, and she put the pots of honey down, and she opened them to see, just to check on her money, and discovered there was no gold coins in any of the pots. She immediately went back to her neighbor, carrying the pots with her and saying, there must be some error. You must have given me the wrong pots. You must have given me your pots because my pots had gold hidden in them. Oh, no, Yoel said, these are the pots that you left with me. You can see the markings on the side that are your pots. They're just as you left them. I didn't touch them at all. Now, what was Deborah to do? If she accepted his word, she was going to be penniless for her life. All the money that she had earned herself and all the money that her husband left her was gone. She thought, they can't be my pots. He must have done something. But Yoel showed her to the door and closed the door. Deborah started crying bitterly because here she was with no money. A few days later, though, she thought, maybe if I go to the wise woman in our town, Hannah, who always seemed to know the answer to any kind of problem. So she went to Hannah and she started to tell her her problem and about how her neighbor had denied that there were gold coins in the pots. Hannah listened carefully and then wondered and said, are the pots still with him or do you have them? Deborah said, well, no, I took them back and left them there because there was no gold. Ah, said Hannah, we're going to go visit Yoel and I know a way to solve your problem. So they went back and they knocked on Yoel's door and he was surprised to see them. But what could he do? Hannah was a well-respected woman in the town, so he had to invite her in. And he said to them, what do you both want? So Hannah said, you have 3 pots of honey that Deborah gave you for safekeeping, don't you? Of course I do. Yes, I do. Here they right are, she said, and he put the pots right on the table in front of them. Good, Hannah said. Now I want you to bring me 3 neighbors you trust. So Yoel was confused, but again, Hannah was a wise woman and well liked in the town, so he figured he had to do what she said. So he went and brought 3 neighbors back in. Now she said to you claim that that there was no gold in any of this. He said, no, they contained honey and nothing more. I kept them on the shelf and I didn't touch them at all. Said Hannah, very well. Let's see, what I'd like you to do is empty all the pots in front of your neighbors here. So he was confused. He said, why? Why would I do that? Hannah didn't say a word. She just stood there and looked at him. And after a while, he figured he better do what she was saying. So he poured all the honey out of the pots. Then she said, I want you to take a hammer and I want you to smash the pots. And he said, what? Why do you, this makes no sense. Why do you want me to do this? You're embarrassing me in front of all of my neighbors. And I just stood there with her arms folded and looked at him until he felt he had no choice. So he went and he smashed the pots. And then Hannah went over and picked up some of the large jars that were there and looked at them carefully. And she picked up one and showed that it was honey and a gold coin stuck to the honey on the side of the pot. Well, Hannah said, it's obvious that Deborah gave you the pots filled with honey. You must have just missed these coins because the honey made them stick to the side of the pots. And Yoel was so ashamed that he admitted that he had taken Deborah's money after all. And he said that he would give her all her money back. And he went to find what gold that he had to give to her. And Hannah looked at Yoel and said, our sages said, wisdom and regret come too late. He said, but no, I'm really sorry. But Devorah, being a wonderful, nice neighbor, saw that Yoel was truly sorry and forgave him. But again, I thought it was kind of clever that the honey, the gold coins would stick to the pot. It also tells you to be very careful about who you lend things to or who watches things for you.
Thank you very much. So as we continue on, we get ready to make Havdalah. So I invite you, if you have your candle, your wine or juice and your spice box, to have everything ready. And we only have to put a little bit more in the chat so that we have the words to everything we're going to be doing, so you can do it with me. I learned that it won't let me put it all in one time. I have to do it in 2 installments. And I'm going to ask you to mute for the first part, and then we'll unmute later on. So we can all sing, but Zoom does this weird thing if we all sing because we don't really sing together. So the blessings are hard to do that way. So I invite you to light your candles. And then we're going to begin. The first blessing will be with the wine. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya 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 la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen borei peri hagafen. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei minei v'samim. Borei minei v'samim. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei me'orei ha'esh borei me'orei ha'esh. Ya la 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 la, la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamagdil ben kodesh lecho ben or lechoshech ben yom hashvi'i l'sheshet yemei ha'aseh. Baruch atah Adonai hamagdil ben kodesh lecho. Take another moment to savor the last moments of Shabbat, the sweetness of Shabbat, the warmth of Shabbat, the scent of Shabbat. And then we put our candles out in our wine and juice. I invite you to unmute for Eliyahu Hanavi and Shavua Tov. Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu,
Shabbat tov.
Shavua Tov, Shavua
Shabbat tov. A good week.
A week
A week of peace.
may
gladness,
Gladness reign. And increase. A good week. A week of peace. Gladness reign. Joy and peace.
Shavua tov.
All of those in this part of the country, we should all stay warm, and we say goodbye to those of you on Facebook with us. Please join us Friday night at 7:30 or next Saturday at 7 o'clock Eastern Time for our doing these services together, welcoming, and then saying goodbye to Shabbat.